Chairman, thank you for those very kind words, and ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance this evening. It's lovely to see some friendly faces in the audience, including my old work colleague David, and it's always good to follow a Knight of the Realm when addressing such a distinguished audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe that Britain should any longer be a member of the European Union. I don't believe in an ever closer union. It makes no sense at all to tie ourselves to a sclerotic trade bloc whose share of global trade was 30% in the 1980s, but is heading towards 15% in the 2020s, when our membership fee each year is £10 billion plus. And when, as one of the conditions of membership, we have to dismantle our borders and basically open them to all and sundry from across the European Union. In my opinion, our membership of the European Union is a price which the British people no longer want to pay, and the sooner we get a referendum to leave this wretched organisation, the better. Immigration is a huge issue, but thank goodness we can now talk about it. Because for too long, those of us who have worried about immigration have been branded racist every time the term has been mentioned. And one of the strange benefits, funnily enough, of Eastern European migration is that because it's white, we can now talk about immigration without being branded racist. And time and again, I get on the doorstep, constituents saying to me, "Oh, Mr. Hollobone, I'm not racist, but..." Because they, like us, are concerned about immigration, not because of the colour of someone's skin, or the language they speak, or the culture they have, but because of the numbers involved. And Britain, in my opinion, and I'm sure in the opinion of my constituents, and I'm sure everyone here in this room, simply cannot cope with another mass wave of immigration to our shores. Britain is full and we can take no more. Now, Sir Andrew showed us the statistics which show that our population is heading from 62 million towards 70 million and perhaps more by the 2030s, 2040s. Anybody who lives in London knows that the country is full. Think what it's going to be like with all these additional people. One of the areas of most concern must surely be the traffic on our roads. Now, I asked a parliamentary question in this Parliament of the Department of Transport, asking what their traffic estimates were going forward. And the official government view is that current forecasts show traffic on all major roads in Great Britain increasing by 40% in the period 2010 to 2035. 40%. If you think it's difficult enough driving around London now, think what it's going to be with 40% more traffic on the roads. And this is before we fling our borders open to Bulgaria and Romania. Britain simply cannot cope. Our infrastructure is not there to cope with all this traffic on our roads. Schools in Kettering are already bursting at the seams, and it's far worse in our big metropolitan cities. Ours is meant to be a national health service, not an international health service, and far too many migrants are getting treated free of charge by British taxpayers in British hospitals. And ladies and gentlemen, there is a crime wave on the London Underground. I know this because I'm a special constable with the British Transport Police, and I can tell you that 8 out of every 10 pickpockets on the London Underground come from Romania and Bulgaria. Not only are we flinging our borders open to far too many people, we're basically importing criminality. And up with it, the British people will not put. Now, I've got nothing against individual Romanians, Bulgarians, Polish people, Lithuanians, their work ethic, frankly, puts many British people to shame. And on an individual basis, they set an extremely high example. But we simply cannot cope with the numbers coming to our shores. And that's the problem. It's the numbers involved. And I think everyone would agree that where we do have skill shortages in this country, it does make sense in some cases to import those skills. But we should do that with a work permit system. We shouldn't simply let everyone have the right to come and live in this country. And I don't believe in giving people citizenship after 5 years. I think it should be at least 15, 20 years in service in this country before you have the right to a British passport. The title of our meeting tonight is Can We Control Immigration?
No. 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 We'd like to, but we can't.
Well, of course, here's the typical politician. It's yes and no. It's no under the current arrangements. It's no whilst we're a member of the European Union. But a bright day may dawn when the British people vote to leave the European Union, and then we can control our borders once again. For those who want to stay in the European Union, but to renegotiate the terms of our membership, I'm not one of those because I want to leave. But for those who do want to stay in under better terms, what would be a better way to signal Britain's determination and intent to renegotiate than to say, before the end of this year, despite our treaty obligations, because we want to renegotiate the terms of our membership, we are not going to lift the transitional controls on the 31st of December. Yes, there would be an almighty fuss across Europe. Yes, Romania and Bulgaria would complain. But at least the European Union would finally realise that Britain is serious about renegotiating our terms of membership. And maybe they might actually get up, sit up and listen and start seriously to renegotiate with us. And I believe that's the least that the British government should do. It is shameful that Her Majesty's government has published no estimates on the numbers likely to come to our shores. I very much respect Sir Andrew's sophisticated analysis. I did mine on the back of an envelope, and my simple calculation was this. There are 73 million people in the A8 countries, the Eastern European countries, who already have access to our shores. So Andrew has said that 1.1 million have come here. That's a rate of 1.5%. If you apply that same rate, 1.5%, you get to a total of 425,000. There are already 155,000 Romanians and Bulgarians in this country, so the difference is about 50,000 a year, which is Sir Andrew's central estimate. Britain cannot cope with that level of immigration from the end of this year, and we have to make that message quite clear. Other countries within the European Union are seeking to at least register other EU nationals coming to their country. Why don't we at least do that? In Spain, if you're an EU national from another EU member state, you have to have basically a residency card with your name and address, whether you're married, where you're living, what your job is, so that the Spanish government can track where these people are coming, where they're living in the country. Local authorities need this information to plan the provision of public services. And if we don't know where these people are coming from, if we don't know their age profile, if we don't know where they're living, of course there's going to be chaos up and down the country. So I think we have an opportunity, if we have the resolve, to say yes, we can control immigration. We haven't yet given up the fight to defend our borders, to reassert our sovereignty. whilst we're still a member of the European Union, we can actually bend the rules like all the other countries do, especially France, and we can say, no, we're not going to open our borders to Romania and Bulgaria from the end of this year. Take Britain seriously, we want to renegotiate our terms of membership. I actually don't think we're going to get very far with renegotiation, and I'm looking forward to the day when the British people, the people in my constituency, me and my family, can go down to the polling station and put the cross in the box to say we've had enough of Europe, we want to reassert our sovereignty and declare our independence once again.
Yeah.